Okay, training tempo. So this is a vitally important concept, which is absent in the training of most of your average gym goers. If you were to just walk into a gym and look around, the understanding and application of tempo is not there, which is very often why people see so little results from their workouts. This is vital to understand and implement. So if I open this document, so in your main document, you will have this little section on tempo, which gives a brief overview. So it's essentially your speed of movement during every single rep and is written as a 4-digit code, breaking each rep down into 4 distinct phases. So the eccentric phase is essentially lowering the weight. This can change depending on the exercise, whether it's a lowering or raising. But in most cases, it's a lowering phase during which the muscle lengthens, and it will generally be the slowest part of our movement. So if I was doing a bench press and I was lowering the bar down to my chest, that would be the eccentric phase, and my chest muscles would be lengthening during that phase. And that would generally be the slowest part of the movement rather than just dropping it and bouncing it off my chest. Then we have, once I get to the bottom of that movement, we potentially have an isometric phase. So if I was to hold and pause at the bottom of that movement, so let's say I lowered the bench press to my chest, I held it at the bottom for 1 second, that would be an isometric phase. And there's lots of positive reasons for doing this, but it's more of an advanced technique, and most of you probably won't be getting this straight away. In most cases, what you'll probably see is a 3 or a 4, and then a 0 here, which would mean that there's no pause at the bottom. So the concentric is when we lift the weight, which is when, let's say in the case of the bench press, as I lift, my pecs get shorter because they are pulling the weight back up. And generally this will be faster than the eccentric. Not every case, but generally. So the eccentric is as I lower the bar down to my chest. Isometric, if there's a 1 there, you pause. If there's a 2 there, you pause. If there's a 0, there's no pause. And then the concentric is I lift the weight back up. And again, at the top, there can potentially be an isometric at the top, which would mean I would lift the weight back up. And if there was a 1 there, I would pause for 1 second before lowering it back down on the eccentric. However, again, in most cases, there will be a 0 at this point. So what we don't want to do is take 3 seconds down. No pause here. It's 3 seconds down. We lift straight up onto the concentric, and then a lot of people you'll see hang around for 5 seconds at the top. We don't want to do that in most cases. So in most people's early programs, it would be 3 seconds down. It would be a lift, and then without pausing, you'd go straight back and go into 3 seconds down. So let's look at an example of what this may look like. If I find we're mentioning a chest press, so let's look at a chest press and just let this load up. And I'll give you another example of why it's not always a lowering phase on here. Okay, why can't I see this? Okay, I'm not logged in. All right, don't worry. Okay, I'll fix that later. But it's enough to make sense anyway. So, for example, if I was doing my bench press, I would be going 3, 2, 1, no pause, back up for 1, 3, 2, 1, no pause, back up. Okay, and you'll see those tempo prescriptions written all over your programs. And again, it may be 4 seconds on the way down, there may be 5 seconds on the way down, there may be 1 second up, 2 seconds up, there may be pauses at top or bottom, there may be none. Make sure you understand how to read the changes in this, because it is very important, and then make sure that you stick to it. If you are unable, with the weight you've selected, if you're unable to match this tempo, if you're having to do it faster than it's written down, then the weight is too heavy.